Since death is a natural part of our human life, there comes a time when each of us are called to do the work of preparing for death. Sometimes this work happens in stages. It might include preparing wills or medical directives or making sure that children are cared for should something suddenly happen to us. And at the end of life, this call becomes our primary work, especially if we enter hospice or clearly in our final days. The death of Moses at the end of Deuteronomy offers us insights into how we can answer our own call to prepare for death. Not only is this one of the few times we see the entire process of death in the scriptures, but also because God instructs Moses step by step in what he is to do as he prepares to die, and taking our cues from God is always a good idea. Moses' death takes place at the edge of the Jordan, so close to the promised land that he can see it. Moses had led the people faithfully in the exceedingly difficult work of bringing them out of Egypt and through the desert, but he is not going to make it into the Holy Land. Instead, God tells him to bring Joshua, his assistant, into the tent of meeting so that Moses can lay his hands on him and commission him to lead the people. Then, again at God's direction, Moses gives Joshua and the people a song to help them remember to follow God, and gives them the book of the law that he received from God. After finishing this work, God tells Moses to go up a mountain opposite Jericho, where Moses sees the promised land and dies there. No one knows the place where Moses finally died and was buried. The Israelites mourned for him for 30 days, and then they entered the promised land. Moses' experiences offer insights to us about how we prepare for a good death. First of all, we see the tension about having finished our piece of a work that is never quite complete. Every death leaves some things unresolved. We're never able to complete everything we want and enter our promised land on this side of the grave. At the same time, we want to recognize what we have accomplished and understand how our life has mattered. Then, in the same way that Moses commissioned Joshua and passed on the gifts he had been given, we want to pass on our gifts. In some cases, this passing on will involve making concrete gifts of things that have been important to us, or providing financial resources for a work we can no longer accomplish. In some cases, we'll want to mentor others with the skills and experiences we have gained. In most cases, we'll be called to give a blessing to children, grandchildren, or others that will be carrying on when we are gone. As Moses passed on the law and other gifts from God, we want to ensure that we pass on our spiritual gifts as well. If we've not done so, we can share with family and friends how and where we have experienced God. We can discuss the importance of our church and our prayer life. And by sharing our own ministry and calls, we can help others find God's call in their lives. And then finally, like Moses, we can die in a way that lets people move forward. Moses needed to be in an unknown grave, or the Israelites wouldn't have been able to fully enter the promised land. They'd have constantly been returning to his grave outside the promised land for holidays and celebrations. We don't need to be an unknown grave, but we can plan for the final disposition of our physical bodies or remains and allow people to have their days of mourning for us and to move forward. The best gift we can give to those who come after us is the ability to remember and grieve us, and then to continue the work of living that they need to do without us.